People often complain to me sometimes, why we test so much? And the simple answer is, if you're not evaluating your progress, then you're kind of training blind. You just need to get feedback. You need to get constant information about how you're traveling. And you can get that in so many different ways, and the testing is one way. Racing's a classic way of finding out exactly where you sit in the bunch, in a race bunch of riders of your peers, whether you're an A grade or D grade, or whether you're a bunch rider on Saturday. Riding with your bunch is the sort of a real leveler to find out where you're up to. So the testing is a really crucial part, and the number one fundamental reason why we test is so that at the end of the day we can track your progress. And if things aren't going well with the testing that we do, then we need to change something. And that's so important. And people forget that that's one of the main reasons why we're testing, is to make sure, we do trust what we're doing is good, and improvements are happening, because that's the program we've set. But if for some reason someone's not performing with improvement, then we can't do the same repeated mistake. We have to actually change something up. And everybody is different, so everybody reacts differently to the program. And that's kind of one of the things that, as a good coach, you identify. So the testing is super important.
So why do you put more value on testing? Because you make sure the athletes, it almost takes a full week. It's not a full week of training, but you take at least 3 days to freshen them up, take 2 recovery days, and then do the test. Why do you put so much value on that over a race?
Well, I kind of do and don't. The main reason the testing week's so good, if we had a race that week, it would be just as good. I would be happy to put a race in replace of the testing. But we don't get to race all that often and at the right time of our training block. As you know, most of our training block involves 2 to 3 weeks, depending on your age. Younger guys can last 3 to 4 weeks. Older guys can last 2 weeks. Middle-aged guys can last 3 weeks of a seriously hard training block. And then they need to recover. So it's a great opportunity to, at the end of your recovery phase, to have a little test. And so it fits in well with our training block. But if we happen to have a race in the middle of that, it's even better. And we don't need to wait 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I mean, you could do testing each week if you wanted to. And in fact, in some of the training sessions you're doing, you are testing yourself anyway. I know for sure on the Saturday bunch ride, depending on what circuit we're doing at a particular time, if it's a one figure 8 lap circuit that we're doing, there's like 11 hill climbs there, all between 30 seconds and 2 minutes. And, everybody's really, really hammering it against each other. And if you find that you're dropping off, that's kind of an indicator to you that, there's something not quite right. I'm not going so well today. So form's a really good tester in some of your bunch rides as well.
So on that note, we do a couple of different tests. The main one we use is the FTP test. Why have you chosen that as the main one that you really like the athletes doing?
Yeah, well, the functional threshold power test, and we've spoken about it a lot over the years, so a lot of this is not new to any of the people, our viewing audience that are listening. But, the original functional threshold power test was over 1 hour. So you would put yourself against the clock for an hour, and you would find out what your power number is after an hour. That's really hard. It's almost race-like. You need to have tapered for it, and you need to recover after it. So the reason we don't do the hour is because it takes too much of our training. So they've come up with, and lots of guys have experimented, and there are so many different versions. The 20-minute power test is the one that we use at Trivela Coaching the majority of the time. I've actually just been trying the ramp test in the last month or so. But the 20-minute power test is a ripper because it's got 2 really good, valuable components to it. One, you are actually doing a training session at threshold. So that's perfect, because that's one training session we need to do. And the second one is we actually get to find out where we're at with our number. And if you're hopefully higher than the previous test that you did, that's really good feedback. If you're not higher, then we need to actually look at what's going on. Did you miss some sessions? Was there some particular things that you didn't achieve during the last block? So it's a really good opportunity for us to reevaluate what we just did and to see if you didn't miss anything, you were consistent, then what else is going wrong? You may be sick. It may be a technical thing where your power number's wrong. and it's not even your fault. So
And you do talk about the importance of calibrating your power every session.
yeah, but there's so many things and variations and variances that can affect. So the 20-minute power test is the one that we rely mostly on. And as we do coach a lot of time trialers, we coach a lot of triathletes, we coach a lot of cyclists. Or time trialers are cyclists, obviously, but you could have a time trial bike with a different power meter outside on a velodrome, indoor on your ergo. You can have your road bike outside on a hill climb. You can have it indoor on your ergo. So there's so many different aspects to what bike are you riding, what position are you in, are you on a climb, are you on a velodrome, are you on an indoor ergo. So not all those tests are going to get the same result. So it is almost a coach's nightmare with someone presents who possibly wants to be a GC type rider, where they want to be a time trialist, they want to be a hill climber, they want to be a crit rider, a road racer, sprinter. So you actually need to have the power test number, the FTP test number for your indoor trainer, for your outdoor session, and for your hill climbing. And then throw in changing bikes, which is going from a road bike for those 3 tests to a time trial bike for those 3 tests. So technically you could have 6 different FTP numbers.